All right, Shalom. Before I get started, I want to give all glory, honor, and praise to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakar Kwadash. I want to give double honors to the men that taught me this word. Peace and honor to the brothers that's out there laboring, edifying, rightly dividing the word in truth and sincerity. And Shalom to you believers out there. Aki and Wa Akwath. So, what I want to get into right now is that the Lord shows his might and power in the weaker things, all right? Because you could be perceived as weak, but guess what? If you got this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, then you're not weak, all right? You have the spirit of the Lord with you, all right? You don't got to be 7'2", 300 pounds to be a mighty man, or you don't have to be a so-called diva or independent, strong, so-called black woman to be a mighty woman. All right. But if you have this wisdom, knowledge, and understanding in its purest form, all right, and you keeping the law, statute, commandments, you praying, you studying, you walking that straight path, the best of your ability, working on that inner man and that inner woman, then you're mighty. All right. And really, even on a carnal level, the Lord showed his might through men who would have been considered feeble, weak. I mean, you got the story of David, David and Goliath. And I'm finna get into a little bit of that because it's another story with that David and Goliath with his brothers, in service and things. But matter of fact, let's go to it. I'm going to use the one in Chronicles because it's one in 2 Samuel. When you go to Chronicles chapter 20 and you start at verse 5, and it says, "And there was war again with the Philistines, and Elhanan, the son of Jair, slew Lami, the brother of Goliath, all right, the Gittite, whose spear staff was like a weaver's beam. And yet again there was a war at Gath, where was a man of great stature, whose fingers and toes were 24. So that's 24, 6 on each hand and six on each foot. So you had a big giant, all right? And reading on, it says, and he also was the son of a giant. So you had this giant, all right, he has 6 fingers and 6 toes, 6 fingers on each hand. And then he had 6 toes on each foot, all right? Looking crazy, great in stature. I mean, he was a giant. And when you go back to do research on these, that line where Goliath came from, they were giants. The Gittites, all right, from Gath, yeah, they was giants, all right? So again, verse 6, and yet again there was a war at Gath, where a man of great stature, whose fingers and toes were 24, 6 on each hand, 6 on each foot, and he also was the son of a giant. But when he defiled Israel, Jonathan, the son of Shemiah, David's brother, slew him. These were born unto the giant in Gath, all right? And they fell by the hand of David and by the hand of his servants. So, David slain Goliath. And then his brother turned around and slain probably one of the relatives of Goliath. Because like I said, right here, the men of Gath, when you do research on them, it's stating it right here, plain. It said these were born into the giant in Gath. Those men were giants, all right? But the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, he shows his strength in small, in the weak, considered like the numbers can be stacked up. It could be like 10 men versus 50. All right, because even when you go to, matter of fact, the Spirit want me to go there. When you go to Judges, let me see, is it the 14? Yup. Bear with me 1 second. Is it in this chapter? Nope. Let me see something. All right, because even when you're talking about Samson, and Samson, we all know Samson was a mighty man. All right. He got his strength from who? The Lord. All right. He was a mighty man, but no, it's gonna be later. Bear with me 1 second. Yep, here we go. So, and this is another thing against the Philistines. We kept going to war with them. All right. Let me see. I'm gonna start at 14. And it says, and when he came to Lehi, the Philistines shouted against him, and the Spirit of the Lord came mighty upon him. Talking about Samson. And the cords that were upon his arms became as flax that was burned with fire, and his bands loosed from off his hands. And he found a new jawbone off an ass, all right? And he put forth his hand and took it, and slew 1,000 men wherewith. And Samson said, with the jawbone of an ass, heaps upon heaps, with the jaw of an ass, have I slain 1,000 men. See? And even if Samson was 7, let's say Samson, because I believe Samson was a little, he might have had some height and some meat on him. That's just me. I don't know. That's just me speaking though. He might have, I don't think Samson was really small in stature, but think about it. Let's just say for the benefit of the doubt, if Samson was 7 feet tall, all right, 200 something pounds, 1,000 men, that's a lot of men. In real life, that's a lot of men, 1,000. You know what I'm saying? For one man to kill 1,000, I don't care if he was 8 feet tall. If 1,000 men, even if those men was between the height of 5'10" and 6'8", that's 1,000 men. You see what I'm saying? That's a lot. But what I really wanted to go into was this account. All right. Stand in the book of Judges. I love Judges. Actually is one of my favorite books. You got a lot of accounts when we went to war. All right. So, Judges, right? This is, Israel, we had went off, and then we had prayed to the Lord. And this is basically how Gideon, saved us from the Midianites. All right. We was at war against them. All right. So I ain't going to read the whole account. I'm going to just hit some key points to show you that Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, he shows his strength through who the world would consider weak. All right. Whether that's spiritual, whether that's in knowledge, whether they don't think you wise and haven't been to Esau schools and got one of his degrees, or whether it's on a carnal level, far as you might be 5'10", 150 pounds, and the other person might be 6'6", 230. But the Lord show his strength, and like I said, David and Goliath was one example everybody know about, but everybody don't know about David's brother. Killing that giant with the 6 fingers and 6 toes. 6 on each hand. You see what I'm saying? So when you go to Judges chapter 6, I'm going to start at 15, all right? Just to get in context, this is Gideon. Israel, we had went off, and the Midianites had taken us, all right? Along with the Amalekites, all right? Because when you go up, along with the Amalekites and the children of the east, all right? We was very impoverished at this time. The Lord punished us because we kept going off, So when you go to verse 15, it says, and he said unto him, O my Lord, wherewith shall I save Israel? Behold, my family is poor in Manasseh, see, and I am the least in my father's house. All right. And when you go into least, a lot of times it's like the younger sibling. But we're going to look at, matter of fact, let me do it like this. Let me look it up in the NLT. It says, but Lord, Gideon replied, how can I rescue Israel? My clan is the weakest in the whole tribe of Manasseh. All right. And I'm the least in my entire family. All right. So let me see what that word least means. Let's look it up for edification's sake. Because a lot of times it says Sair. Sayar, really, in the paleo. Forgive me if it's running a little slow.
Strong's H, 6810. Sair.
Sair. So
second entry.
Oh wow.
Saor.
All right.
Third entry.
Oh, it's another entry. I'm gonna let it
Sair.
All right. So it says little, insignificant, young. All right, little, insignificant. See, insignificant mean younger, or youngest. And I think he was saying he was the youngest. You know, when you go to verse 15. All right. I am the least in my father's house. So he's probably was the youngest brother. All right. Let's go to verse 16. And the Lord said unto him, surely I will be with thee, and thou shalt smite the Midianites as one man. See? All right. Now, when you jump down to verse 35, let's get to 35. It says, and he sent messengers throughout all Manasseh, who also was gathered after him, and he sent messengers unto Asher, and unto Zebulun, and unto Naphtali, and they came up to meet him. So he sent out like, hey, we going to war, you know? Now I want to jump down. I want to go to chapter 7, right? And you start at 1. Then Jerubbaal, who is Gideon, and all the people that were with him rose up early and pitched beside the wall of Herod, so that the host of the Midianites were on the north side of them by the hill of Moreh in the valley. Verse 2. And the Lord said unto Gideon, the people that are with thee are too many for me to give the Midianites into their hands, lest Israel vaunt themselves against me, saying, my own hand have saved me. See? So the Lord loves showing his power through who, like I said, will be considered weak. You know, and a lot of times it's because so you won't boast. And matter of fact, let me get a precept for that. All right. So when you go to 1 Corinthians, the first chapter, right? And you start at verse 25, it says, because the foolishness of the Most High is wiser than men, and the weakness of the Most High is stronger than men. For ye see your calling, brethren, how that not many wise men after the flesh, not many mighty, not many noble are called, but the most High have chosen the foolish things of the world to confound the wise, and the Most High have chosen the weak things of the world to confound the things which are mighty. See? And the base things of the world and the things which are despised have the Most High chosen. Yeah, and the things which are not, to bring to naught things that are. In verse 29, that no flesh should glory in his presence. See? So when you go back to Judges, so no flesh can glory in his presence, right? You can't boast. I'm saving you, you know? And anytime you say for any situation, it is Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. And all praises must go to him. So in verse 2 again, and the Lord said unto Gideon, the people that are with thee are too many for me to give the Midianites into their hands, lest Israel vaunt themselves against me, saying, my own hand hath saved me. All right. So this will happen. Verse 3. Now therefore go to proclaim in the ears of the people, saying, whosoever is fearful and afraid, let him return and depart early from Mount Gilead. And there return of the people 22,000, and there remain 10,000. All right. So obviously he had more than 22,000 people. If 22 left, all right, and remained 10,000. So he had what's that? 32,000. So 32,000, remember that. So in their return of the people, 22,000, it says 20, and 2,000, and there remained 10,000. So they started with 32, now they got 10,000. Verse 4, and the Lord said unto Gideon, the people are yet too many. Bring them down unto the water, and I will try them for thee there. And it shall be that of whom I say unto thee, this shall go with thee, the same shall go with thee, and of whomsoever I say unto thee, this shall not go with thee, the same shall not go with thee. Verse 5. So he brought down the people unto the water, and the Lord said unto Gideon, every one that lappeth of the water with his tongue, as a dog lappeth, him shalt thou set by himself. Likewise, everyone that boweth down upon his knees to drink. Verse 6. All right, and we can get that just so you can get in proper context. Let's get in NLT. It says, when Gideon took his warriors down to the water, the Lord told him, divide the men in two groups. In one group, put all those who cup water with their hands and lap it up with their tongues like dogs. In the other group, put all those who kneel down and drink with their mouths in the stream. Okay, just to get it, Verse 6, and the number of them that lapped, putting their hand to their mouth, were 300 men. But all the rest of the people bowed down upon their knees to drink water. Verse 7, and the Lord said unto Gideon, by the 300 men that lapped will I save you, and deliver the Midianites into thine hand, and let all the other people go, every man unto his place. So they started out with 32,000 men, because he probably was like, yeah, we about to go strong. But the Lord chose 300 men. So now they went from 32,000 to 300 men. All right. So now I'm finna jump down, because by this time the war was happening, and they was chasing Zebah and Zalmunna, the kings of I believe the kings of the east. Hold on, we're about to get it. It's like verse 10. I'm gonna start at verse 10. It says, all right, Midianites, children. Hold on, give me 1 second. I'm trying to see. Okay, verse 10. But if thou fear to go down with Purah, thy servant. Give me 1 second. Yep. But if thou fear to go down with Purah, thy servant, down to the host, and thou shalt hear what they say, and afterward, wait, hold on. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Hold on, give me 1 second. No, that wasn't it. Yeah, Salakia. So now I want to go to Judges 8. I'm off Salakia. I knew something was off. So when you go to Judges 8, right? I'm going to start at verse 10 and 8. I was at 7. See, Zebah and Zalmunna, they had slew their men. So now they chasing the two kings, all right? All right, so verse 10, now Zebah and Zalmunna were in Kekor, and their hosts with them about 15,000 men, all right? And that all that were left of all the hosts of the children of the east, for there fell 120,000 men that drew swords. So think about it. Let's look this up. All right, so when you go to the NLT, it says, by this time, Zebah and Zalmunna were in Kekor with 15,000 warriors, all that remained of the allied armies of the east, for 120,000 had already been killed. See? And they had 120,000, and they had 300. This is the Lord showing his power. When he told Gideon, I got you, he had him. Gideon had 32,000. That still was less than the 120,000, you still would be like, man, you about to get slaughtered. But guess what? He only had 300. That's the Lord showing his power, man. All right, verse 11. And Gideon went up by the way of them that dwelt in tents on the east of Nobah and Jobeha, and smote the host, for the host was secure. And when Zebah and Zalmunna fled, he pursued after them and took the 2 kings of Midian, all right, Zebah and Zalmunna, and discomforted all the hosts. All right, so, and I just wanted to get those numbers because when you read down, they captured them and killed them, and there was some other things that they did because it was some people, on their way to get them kings. They was asking for help. The people ain't help them, so he went and slew, tore them up too. But my point is, you see how the Lord showed his strength through a weaker army. 300 versus 120,000 men. All right? That's straight power right there, baby. And I just brought this out because I want you to know, no matter how weak you may seem or people might try to count you out, guess what? If the Lord with you, hey, who can be against you? It don't even matter. You could be doing things on your own. You could be independent. The chips might be down or look like they down, But if you pray to the Lord, and you got that faith, and you meet it with works, hey, you can overcome these giant battles. All right. You can be that David versus the Goliath, whatever that Goliath may be. All right. So I just wanted to bring that out. Lord willing, it was edifying. Till the next lesson. Shalom.